Greg Jackson. Put my thing down for a second. My name's Greg Jackson. I am the founder, executive director of an organization called Heal Charlotte. Started 2016 behind the shooting and killing of Keith Lamont Scott. I'm from the other tracks. I'm from the Bronx. Been out here for 10 years. But I've experienced all walks of life. I've been on the other side doing wrong, putting poison in the community. Now I'm on the other side doing right, bringing hope to the community. So in doing the work that we've been doing, 2019, 2020, homicides went up in Charlotte. We hit over the hundreds. And then started to find out there was a large percentage of those homicides that were young black men killing young black men. Last 2020, it was 44%. So really wanted to get in because I was already mentoring kids, and I lost a young man, 16, Ruben Contreras, rest in peace to him, lost his life by a stray bullet right in front of my neighborhood. I was with that young man for 4 years, pouring into his life. So it was saddening to see that happening. Of course, hit my organization hard, and we wanted to do something about it. Instead of just sitting around putting the blame on somebody else or saying there's enough organizations doing gun violence prevention or something like that, where we can always use some more help, right? So we jumped in, we got some support to be able to do some events last year. We did a conference day, we did a basketball tournament, we did a media day, controlling our narrative, telling the black story of these neighborhoods and marginalized communities. And what happened was we were missing the educational piece. We were missing, all right, we're gonna empower you, we're gonna do these events, we're gonna let you see us, you're gonna have hope, but then you have no skills to be able to go back into the community and really defend yourself from the enemy that's in front of you, which is us and our lack of self-identity, right? So Marifa, who is my bro, my comrade, I've learned a lot under this man right here, just about everything black. I've had, my mom is a Black Panther. My mom is a Black Panther at heart, you know, a revolutionist at heart. My grandmother was the same. So that's always been with me. My uncle is Dr. Layela Africa, God rest his soul. That is my blood uncle. So it's always been in my family that we've been in this revolutionary stack. I was missing it. And by linking up with my brother, he's been able to just let me be me, but still pour into me and give me books that I've never even seen. And I've had the privilege of reading some. So there was no better person for me to partner with when it came to telling the story of how rich our history is and the things that we're going to need to be able to rebuild our community and restore it after we do all of these wonderful events. And so this man right here is going to be leading this 12 weeks. You know, he said we got to get it in if we're going to get it in.
We're going to get it in. We got to get it in.
And I appreciate everybody online, everybody in person. Thank you for coming. We're going to do this every week. We're going to dig in. We're going to do some events after that. We're going to mobilize, we're going to organize, and we're going to strategize, and we're going to learn to be militant as a people with our approach. And that's what we're going to do in here. And Marifa's going to lead it. Shout out to Cinemet. It's a whole nother, y'all, background on Cinemet. Y'all find out yourselves. But this would not happen without her either, and her expertise of just being a professor. So, I appreciate you, and without further ado, Brother Marifa Ukweli.
All right. How's everyone doing? All right. Shout out to everyone in the room. Shout out to everyone online. So I have to navigate both. We're still trying to work out how we're going to do the hybrid mix. So everyone online, if there's an issue, just send a text in the chat. Make sure you can hear me. Matter of fact, if everyone can let me know if they can hear me clear, they're good. You can see the chat and everything. Okay, word. Say word. Can y'all hear me? I know y'all can hear me. All right. So, like Greg said, there's been some situations in Charlotte relative to violence. Charlotte, especially the last 2-3 years, has elevated in homicide rates. And not just to focus just on Charlotte, but I think over the past maybe 5 decades, violence has always been a problem in our neighborhoods. And when I was growing up, I kind of wanted to know why. Why are things the way they are? And so to answer those questions, I kind of took a journey or whatnot to find out some answers. But I think over the next 12 weeks, we're going to go over some key factors that I think play a huge role in why wherever you go in the United States, you see our people living a certain way. And it's usually self-destructive, community destructive, right? So I think over the next 12 weeks, we'll dive into it. At any point in time, if you want to add to the conversation, this is not a me know-it-all, tell you or anyone else online what's what, right? This is a group effort, community effort. Anytime you want to interject, ask a question, insert something, please do that. Say word one. That's how we roll, right? This is family time. This is 2 head, 2, 3, 4, 5, 100 heads are better than one, right? No know-it-all garbage here. That's not what we do. We're just going to put some information on it. Let's brainstorm, and then at the end of this, let's come up with some solutions and implement those, right? And meet our goals. That's what we want to do. So it's Stop the Violence Workshop. It's restoring our communities. This is the orientation. So this might be the boring day, right? Because this is where I got to tell you all what to expect, how we're going to break everything down. It's going to be a lot of me just blah, 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 blah. But I want you in here and online to make the decision of whether or not you want to be a part of the class. So we're going to present everything, let you know what our perspective is, how we're going to analyze the problems and go about our solutions, but you might not be oriented to that. You may not want to go about it that way. So the orientation gives everyone a chance to decide what you want to do going forward. Hopefully you decide to go forward, and if you do, we want your full commitment. A lot of times when it comes to organizations trying to solve a problem, we'll get together and we'll maybe have an event or a program, but then after that's over, there's a lot of fall off. There's not a lot of follow through, and the momentum and the drive and the mission goes to the side, and then here we are again repeating the cycle. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's kind of been an issue with our community for a while now. A lot of gung-ho, and then sometimes it just, when it's all done, something else comes along. Kind of like emotional reacting to a lot of stuff. Y'all see what I'm saying? So hopefully this time, we want the full commitment. What we're going to do is see it all the way through. Period. That's our goal here. That's our mission. If we don't see it all the way through, all this blib blab I'm giving you is for nothing. Point blank, period. Are we good? Everyone online, good. All right, say word. So I think, have I introduced myself? Okay, I'm League of Intelligence. We partnered up with Greg and Hill Charlotte. And like you, what's funny is after the Keith Lamont got shot, that's when we met with League of Intelligence. That's when we formed League of Intelligence. After Keith Lamont Scott got shot by police, that's when we started to organize. So that's on point. Yeah. And now here we are. So that's on point. Anyone else start to organize based on Keith Lamont Scott? Bunk 57, you too?
Yeah, man, I was actually in prison when I saw Keith Lamont Scott get, when I saw what happened on TV.
Yeah.
And while they were in there was a lot of tension in the prison. But what happened is I actually, that gave me an opportunity to open up dialogue with gang members and everybody else.
Say word.
That's kind of when I realized that God was calling me to activism right there.
Wow. Say word. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
And just for the record, rest in peace to Keith Lamont Scott. Rest in peace to Justin Carr.
Right. 2
of the protesters that we lost that weekend, young men. We didn't have to lose them, but Keith Lamont Scott wasn't a protester, but he started something, and look how the legacy of his name has carried on some positive things. So, God bless him and his family. I know his brother.
R.I.P. R.I.P. Definitely. So 2017, that was 2017, right? 16, pivotal year. We'll jump into it. Like I said, this is orientation. Say it again. They can't hear me? Testing, 1, 2. Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Hit the mixtape.
Oh, it says I can hear you. I can.
No, they said we couldn't.
Oh, okay.
Now they say they can hear you.
All right, okay.
So we're good? I'm going to mess with them just a little bit. Hold on. So y'all good? Hold on. All right, we're good. All right, here we go. Someone said yes. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so reason why we're here. And again, I am going to show you Charlotte numbers. But this goes for all the cities that we, right? It's a national problem. So Charlotte, of course, and had the highest murder rate. I won't say of course, but Charlotte had its highest murder rate in over 20 years in 2020, 12.7. We see it right here. That's where we were, 121. Nearly 80% of the victims were black. Right? So this is something that we have to deal with. 80% black. The majority were male, and 60% were younger than 30, were 30 years old or younger. So young people. When I see that, the first thing I think about is development, conditioning. How did you get into the mindset to where you want to violate yourself and others? right? Like what were the factors that contributed to that? That's like some things I want to know. Anything come to mind when you see these stats? Anybody?
The same exact thing.
Same exact thing?
What was you thinking?
Right.
What was okay with that?
Right. Online. What comes to mind when you see those stats? What's some of the first thing that comes to mind? Let me know what they say in the chat. So, and then over here, Charlotte has one of the highest crime rates in America. And again, that seems to be the story
It's all around.
all across the nation. When you see us living together, you see our communities, when we're, put into a certain area, these type of things happen. Why? Because here's what we could easily do. We could easily point out the neighborhoods that have the gun violence, go and address the brothers that are engaging in it, and try to get them off the street. But are we addressing the root? Like, what's going to cause the next generation to be different? The next wave, I'm talking about, when I say generation, I just mean like the next 3 years. If he's 18, on the street doing whatever, the 14-year-old's coming up behind him. So if we don't address the whole root and system, we'll have another wave, and we'll just keep chasing ourselves. See what I'm saying? So with this strategy we're going to implement, and maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but we want to attack everything.
Yeah.
All around.
I'll just highlight to everybody.
Yeah.
When Charlotte is talking about and bragging about itself, you will never hear it say, Charlotte has one of the highest crime rates in America.
Yeah.
Because we are in the top 10 of people moving here from another city.
Facts.
We're a shiny big toy.
Right.
So everybody wants to come here, do construction, get a new job.
Right.
We're going towards fintech and we're going towards tech. But they will never say that this is an actual problem.
Right.
They will stop people from wanting to move here right now. So us doing this is saying it is a problem and controlling our own narrative and putting the messaging out. So Charlotte knows you got to invest.
You have to.
You have to invest like this is one of the highest crime rates in America.
Right.
And that's currently what they're not doing.
Right. Got someone in the chat?
Yep, so Jamie asks, how are guns accessible?
How are guns accessible? Excellent question. We will talk about that later on in the course. Excellent question. Right? When he looks at this, I'm assuming it's based off what he sees here. How are they getting the guns? And that's the question we have to answer. Who's supplying that?
No, it wasn't that question I was going to answer, but
Oh, go ahead.
I wanted to kind of go back to controlling the narrative.
Mhm.
I think controlling the narrative actually starts in our households,
That too,
with
yeah.
our babies.
Yeah,
you
that's
got
right.
to control that narrative to begin with, because a lot of them are being fed by what the media is, by
Right.
entertainment, but
Right.
they take it serious.
Right. They say one of the strongest deterrents to all of this is strong families, strong communities. You get a community with strong families, you're not going to have these type of outcomes. Outcomes are completely different. Do we agree?
Yes.
Okay. Next slide, if I can move this correct. Okay. So we started the workshop, and when we start this workshop, we're not trying to say we have all the answers. We are just one organization among many organizations already in the trenches putting in work. Shout out to everyone who's already out in their respective cities doing the work, right? Bump 57, you here right now, right? People are doing the work. We're just adding to it. It's a group effort. It's never our organization has the answers and they're doing it wrong. No, we don't do that. We appreciate what you're doing. We're going to add to the sauce too. You see what I'm saying? Cooking, you have a lot of ingredients involved in order to have that particular dish that you want. We're just one ingredient, right? So we come with humility, willing to work with others and spread information so all of us elevate. That's what we want to do. You with me, Kwame?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, course objectives. Course objectives. What we're trying to get across, trying to learn. We're going to list the 6 primary factors that cause violence in our communities. Is there more than 6? Definitely. We're just going to give primary, right? Primary factors that we will deal with. All right? Number 2, we'll examine the effectiveness of policies and programs aimed at preventing violence. We're not the first people to do this. This whole prevent violence and gun violence prevention has been around for a long time. So what results did they get? In my opinion, if we're having a conversation now, that means things really didn't work in the past. So let's make sure, as we examine this, we're not picking up something that was used years before, knowing the outcome is going to be not what we want. Nothing really changed.
Let's do it different.
Right? Or let's do it different. Let's see what really works. And not only what doesn't work, but let's see where other cities had some success. Right? Because there are some programs out there that got brothers on point. I'll tell you what, I'll use a religious organization. The Nation of Islam did a pretty good job getting brothers to go from the street to being people of knowledge. And not people you can take advantage of. Just giving a shout out to that. But there are other organizations out here that have found a formula. Male's Place with Reggie Singleton. Boys to Men Foundation is another one.
Yeah.
So there are organizations out here, but let's study all the policies and what the city tried to do, all those things to figure out what's what. So we don't repeat and do the same thing and then come up with the same result. Yeah, go ahead. Yes, sir.
More stuff that gets to the black men.
Right.
Or make stuff get a progress, because the young black men need to be taught,
Mm-hmm.
build the families you talk about.
Facts. Facts. And if you don't see other black men making family a priorities,
Right. It
Right.
gotta be a leader situation.
you gotta have, I know that has to be a strong component in it. And our relationship and attitude towards women has to adjust a little bit.
Yeah.
Our attitude towards building a family has to adjust. But what makes a man successful? Your family. But if that's not a priority or a value, then we'll chase something else. And that's exactly what's happening. Chase something else. Yes, ma'am.
And before that, we have to stand in front of the behavior and understand what is a family. Like you say to a young black man, you gotta develop, you gotta grow up, you gotta mature, you gotta
Right.
take care of your family. And
Right.
you stand there like, what is that?
Right.
He has no idea what that really entails or what he needs to have in his toolbox to do
Come on.
what you're saying
That's right.
he needs to do.
That's
So
right.
The education and teaching what a family is, what you need to put into it, and
Right.
the moral,
Right.
the values.
Lay out those principles,
And lay 'em
values,
out,
tenets.
lay
Yeah,
'em
gotta
out.
lay them out.
Start at A, start
That's
at
right.
A.
That's right. So we'll talk about the policies and programs. They want to analyze the psychological effects of poverty. And poverty, it's this position, this class's position, so that you know that we believe poverty is created. Right? It's not a result of people being lazy. We'll get to that later on. It's not laziness, black, because what this society wants you to do is to think that it's a choice. Right? This is a free society. Everyone has a choice. And there's no underlying operation happening, no underlying primary factors that cause a neighborhood to be poor. But we're going to examine and find out that's not true. There are certain things in place where you can underdevelop, under-resource, underfund an area to where poverty sets in. And in Africa, they have a phrase that says, they talk about how poverty is like madness because of what it makes you do. So under a certain type of economic strain, you will start to make decisions that are detrimental to yourself and your community. So what are this? Again, we're going to analyze the psychological effects of poverty so we can properly create a strategy to attack this, right? And number 5, explain and define the key factors that cause communities to be underdeveloped, just like we're talking about. What are the key factors? How do they do it? How is it everywhere across the United States that when you see us accumulating in large areas, there's poverty involved? How are they able to do that? I got a feeling if we uncover how that's done, we'll be able to attack it, right? And reverse it and counter it. But if we don't know, then we're in trouble. Art of War says you need 3 things. You need knowledge, preparation, confidence. But knowledge is that first one. Know your enemy, know yourself, know your terrain, know when to fight. Gotta have those things. Number 6, analyze and evaluate concepts within social conditioning. And I'll explain more of that as we go along. I'm going to tell you now, you're going to hear phrases like Pavlov's dog and Skinner rat experiment and different things like that because those play a part in how we think, how the mind develops. Number 7, examine the relationship between the school system and neighborhood violence. The school system, inside that classroom, the way it's structured, the way the school system is set up, causes some reactions, some outcomes, especially with the young brothers. Something called checkout. We'll talk about that later. Then not just checkout, you have act out. What causes those things? Right? When you develop a certain kind of belief where I can't learn, or I'm not that smart, or I'm stupid. I remember one time my son went to Piedmont Middle School in Charlotte. Anyone know about Piedmont? They released their test scores